is the universe speaking to you. You are now tuned into the Modern Spiritual Life Coaching Podcast by the Certified Master Life Coach and Spiritual Guide, Coach Chip. Welcome, souls. We now begin this episode of a transformational journey. Unedited, unscripted, and creating something from nothingness. Now, let there be light on Modern Spiritual Life Coaching.
It's episode 104, a morning gratitude of a happy pandemic Monday. Here's a COVID-19 parody song we think you might enjoy. Good morning on the Modern Spiritual Podcast Live.
This one goes out to anyone who's on coronavirus lockdown with their immediate family. This is the family lockdown boogie. We're stuck here in the house for the next 4 weeks or so, and we won't be going out because the government said no. Just my mother and my father and my sister and me and little Maisie too. So for the family sanity, can't you see what we must do? Hey Graham,
yeah?
do you wanna move?
I wanna move.
Hey Joe,
yo,
can you feel the groove?
I feel the groove, yeah.
Hey Lonnie,
what's up?
do you wanna take a chance?
Oh yeah.
The family's together, so let's just dance. Lock the door, hit the floor. It's the family lockdown boogie. Incarcerated, blood-related, family lockdown boogie. Dancing queen in quarantine, family lockdown boogie. We can't go out, so we're all about family lockdown boogie. What a treat it is to be locked down with these three, because we can't get on each other's nerves if we're dancing constantly. We're staying strong and getting along, cause that's just how we do. Won't let this virus divide us, so try this with your family too. The streets are empty and the doors are locked. We've got time plenty and the fridge is stocked. We're a nuclear family and we know how to rock. So lock it down and turn it up right now, you don't need to stop. Lock the door, hit the floor. It's the family lockdown boogie. Incarcerated, blood-related, family lockdown boogie. Dancing queen in quarantine, family lockdown boogie. We can't go out, so we're all about family lockdown boogie. Now wash your hands, do not touch your face. Cough into your arm, keep 2 meters of space. Stay inside your bubble, don't forget to smile. And for the next 4 weeks, do a family lockdown freestyle. Hit the floor. It's the family lockdown boogie. Incarcerated, blood-related, family lockdown boogie. Dancing queen in quarantine, family lockdown boogie. We can't go out, so we're all about family lockdown. Lock the door, hit the floor. It's the family lockdown boogie. Incarcerated, blood-related, family lockdown boogie. Dancing queen in quarantine, family lockdown boogie. We can't go out, so we're all about family lockdown boogie.
Good morning, it's Alchemy Coach Chip on the morning gratitude of this happy pandemic Monday. And that was the COVID-19 boogie parody song, which I think is pretty funny. Every Monday, we play a COVID-19 parody song from a different artist and different people that send this in to us and stuff. If you'd like to send one in to us or let us know about one, then you can email me at chip@modernspiritualpodcast.com. This episode is going to get really interesting because we're going to play something in this episode that you never knew it ever existed. As well, we got a very important message from Dr. Bruce Lipton. And then we're going to get into another thing over here about why are we here? And many people ask that question all the time, and that's going to sum up what we're going to do this half hour. But I just wanted to bring to your attention to is that more than 97,000 children tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 2 weeks of this July. This report says, according to the report published by the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Children's Hospital Association, said in these 2 weeks there was about a 40% increase in child cases across the states and that were studied. Now, the age of the range of the children are different from state, with some defining the children as those up to the age of 14, and one state in Alabama pushing the limit to 24. The compiled data comes back during back-to-school season, as health officials are trying to understand the effects of the coronavirus. Now, the thing is, we talk about the coronavirus and additional information behind it, and many people don't understand, I don't think, because we talk about the belief system. We talk about many elements that go into this COVID-19 thing. And us adults should know better. But the children don't know better because at the age of 7, they're just starting to program in a new consciousness of a belief system. And the parents' job is there to protect their children. And that's what the government and elects are supposed to do, is protect the children, protect the schools. But for the last couple of weeks, they've been promoting this, putting the children back into school. Now, I'll give all parents and all family members who are doing the virtual online a whole 5 stars, thumbs up. That is the safest and the smartest thing to do. You're doing smart thinking and continue to do that so you guys can survive through this and understand a lot of other elements that go to it. The ones that are shoving their children out because they said they're cabin fever, or they're home too much with their children, or the children's driving them crazy, well, then you need to rethink your family values, because children don't know any better. And they're just getting a new belief system that we're giving them, that this society is embedding into them. And this is what we're going to do, is this important message from Dr. Bruce Lipton is going to explain to you in fine detail. And then we're going to shift into the further program. I'll be back in a couple programs here so you can have this understanding of how this is all working. If you're confused, don't be confused. Just download this entire podcast and then re-listen to it again. And then download the other podcasts as well to pick up from some things that you may have left out. Because on Saturday at the Smoking Podcast show, I was talking with Heather, and we discussed this about the belief systems and about the placebo and the non-placebo effect. And now I said Bruce Lipton is going to send this message out, and it's right here. On the morning gratitude of the Happy Pandemic Monday, which is not too happy to hear all these numbers of these children, but this is beyond our control. And this is not to worry anybody or to bring you bad news or any news at all. This is only to bring your awareness up higher so you know where to stand and how to protect your children and do it the smart way. So let's get into this message from Dr. Bruce Lipton right here on the Modern Spiritual Podcast Live.
The public doesn't hear about that. Is the current situation as scary as the media says it is? Absolutely not. My effort here is to say the beliefs that you're getting from the media are toxic. Are you living in fear at this moment? Are you concerned that the immediate future might see you get a flu and then you're going to see the picture, I'm going to die. Oh my God, I could be a victim. I could die. I could have this serious illness. I say, these are programs, and there are ways to change the programs. One I can talk about the most is the one that I use, the one that I've experienced that was most effective. The most rapid way of reprogramming those programs that are not supporting us. When you start to think, behavior is automatically controlled by subconscious programs, which is like autopilot. And these programs came from other people, and up to 70% of them are disempowering, self-sabotaging beliefs. We are all built We are living a life where we think consciously, I'm creating what I want, but not recognizing that 95% of our life is not coming from creative wishes, it's coming from the programs. Our life is a printout of our programs. If you are in fear, if you are in struggle, if you are in need and desire and can't get there, it's not because the universe won't give it to you. It's almost inevitably your program does not support that destination. The words of the professional become your compass. If it says that I'm in trouble, then my mind is immediately going to say, oh my God, the professional told me I'm in trouble, and the function of the mind is going to manifest that experience. So my effort here is to say, the beliefs that you're getting from the media are toxic. You can change these beliefs. There are ways to change the programs. The two natural ways of changing the program are self-hypnosis, which is how a child learns programs in the first 7 years. After age 7, we acquire new programs through a process of repetition or habituation, repeating something over and over and over again, and then we learn it, it becomes a habit. And then there's a new way of healing these programs called energy psychology. The one I can talk about the most is the one that I use, the one I'm most familiar with. So I'm not saying the other one are less effective. I'm just going to say that the one that I've experienced that was most effective in changing my life, because the programs, once I understood what I wanted to change, that was the harder part of what program I want to put in, using a psyche process developed by Rob Williams, in my experience was the most rapid way of reprogramming those programs that are not supporting us, programs that are, creating a disability just because of the belief program. And I found that using a psyche had changed my life so profoundly that I have rewritten programs, the ones that scared me, the ones that I live in fear, I used to live in fear, and now my life is like I live heaven on earth. Why? Because eliminating the programs that disempowered me, of course, led to programs that empower me. And I live by the psyche process because many of the issues I had in my life, like even writing the book, The Biology of Belief, I couldn't have written it because of limiting subconscious beliefs. And thank God I had, psyche. And it was amazing because after changing that belief, the book came out. I started to recognize that my limiting beliefs. And now I am like one of the happiest people around. For what reason? I reprogrammed the fear. I've reprogrammed the bad programming I got from my parents.
Who are you? This may shock you. Have you ever just wondered, where I came from? What am I doing here? What's this life here I'm experiencing? What is all of this? What is reality? Who am I? Purpose? All of that, right? We've all been there. We've all wondered that, especially with the things going on in our environment today. But what if I told you that you are actually a multi-dimensional, what we call a spiritual being? Spiritual basically means non-physical. Nothing to do with religion. A non-physical being. What if I told you that you exist entirely, the true you exists entirely out of your body? You exist in what's known as a field. And there's someone or something that's broadcasting information to your body right now. You know what? Study in quantum physics is now bringing that to light. Evidence is there. I think we're maybe about in the next 5 to 7 years away from validating that from theory to fact. Also, epidemiology, the study of the cells, the immune system, how they replicate, that's also a cutting edge. So within the next 10 to 15 years, information is going to shock you, because the science now is coming together to show this to be true. We have quantum entanglement, we have how cells replicate, and we have epidemiology. So the science is there. So this may shock you. You may say, what is all of this? Well, consider this. You planned everything before you came here. You see, you exist in two states. You exist in a spirit and you exist in a body. It's kind of like a virtual state of reality. See, there's a part of you and it exists to time indefinite. We know about it because how do we know this? Well, we know how particles and atoms work. We know that an electron and an atom, they're infinite We know the universe is infinite. Matter can never be destroyed, only created or changed form. So we know that the energy structure that binds and puts power in all of us, that powers our mitochondria, that's the cells in our body that give us the energy. We know that all that is infinite. So what are you then? So why are you here? Well, here's the bottom line. You're here for an experience. It's like a game. It's like a little video game. So let me put it in simple terms so you can understand it. So imagine you're about to play this video game and you select your character. Before you play the game asks you pick 6 tools. So you have 6 tools. Okay, I'm gonna pick maybe a special weapon. I'm gonna pick a tool of energy or something. But you get 6 tools in a video game. Maybe like a game that you play, a war game. You have missiles, or you have a tank, or you just get to pick 6 tools. And before you play the game, you have these 6 gifts or these 6 energies to help you. And then within the game, you have to use these 6 things to create your reality. Basically, you have these powers within the game. That's sort of what it's like. If I told you, you picked everything you've seen here, it's all a part of what's known as your higher self. Remember now, I talked about this field of energy, right? That higher self is the spiritual version of you that exists with what I call the creator. You can say God, the universe, source energy, whatever you feel comfortable with calling it. But it's there, and it's an intelligent source. And we know this because you know what? We found out now that our cells, they have receptors that respond to the environment. We used to think what we call in Newtonian physics, that our DNA is a permanent strand. But now we realize it's just a blueprint. We realize that without an information from this field, the cells are in a state of status. They're basically shut. They're not doing anything. So what is this field of information? Well, you know it as maybe consciousness. The ability to experience self, the ability to feel. That's consciousness, the ability to know that I am here, I'm aware. And that's who you are. You see, that field or that higher self version of you, what it does, it feeds you information on a need-to-know basis. So you're navigating this thing. So the question becomes, okay, so why have spirit and body? Why can't I just be the spirit? Why do I have to have the body to be here? Well, think about it like this. As I said, it's about an experience. A spirit won't know what ice cream tastes like. How can you know what chocolate tastes like? See that? That's why you have the body. It's a physical, you're here to experience, to love, to get joy, to contribute, to help, to motivate, to inspire. So you are here for an experience. But look, here's the bigger picture I want you to get now. Here's the bigger picture. Do you realize how powerful you are? That means that this character in the game has the power to change the entire game. This person who you are right now in this physical body, that's not even you. That's not truly you. That's an expression. It's like an avatar. Your true self is out of this dimension of space and time. It's funneling information right now to you. I can prove it to you right now. You can literally ask your higher self a question of anything you want an answer to. Do it right before you go to bed. Just relax, just breathe in and ask it out aloud. And go to sleep and don't think about it. And watch the answer come to you. I guarantee you. That's who you are. That exists outside. So, if you ever wonder, who am I? Now you know. Oh, so I'm here as an experience, to teach, to love, to do something, because I have my true self, which is on the outside. So think about that. So once you realize this powerful information, they're not going to share this with you, but once you realize this powerful information, you understand that you have no limits, that your true self can interact with this reality very easily. Why? Because it's not of this reality. It's in a field. It exists existentially outside of this reality. So that means you can manipulate, get the answers to anything Because if it's in that field, it's connected to what you call God, the universe, then it has all the answers to everything. It has ways to make you more money, to find happiness, to find love, to be healthy, to be happy, to create, to do anything. The only thing that's preventing you from truly connecting to your true self or who you truly are is this one little part that's tied into physical reality. It's called your intellect mind. The mind that we've been accustomed to. You see, the thing is, because we have this avatar body, or what I call the avatar, and the true self, because our minds derived and we became primitive, we have this intellect mind. The problem with the intellect mind is it picked up other avatars' beliefs, other people's ideas. So you had ingrained in you a program that took you away from who you are. That program gave you a limitation. That's why you can't connect, or you think you're not connected, but you've always been connected. Because now we know this through biology and quantum physics. We know that the cells, they have receptors. These receptors, they pick up what's known as quantum information. These, and as a matter of fact, they're stored in a part in your neurons. They're called microtubules. It's a new discovery recently, 5-6 years ago. These microtubules, what they do, they have quantum information that they pick up from this outside energy. This quantum information is transformed into your mind and the brain, and it becomes consciousness, and that's how you're able to see, experience, and interpret reality. So see, we're seeing the pieces of the puzzle now. So right now, if you're listening or watching this video, you have just stumbled upon one of the greatest discoveries, or one of the greatest secrets that no one will ever tell you. They'll never let you know this because you're too powerful. Imagine if this gets out. Okay? So that's who you truly are. So you have to start to look at yourself as this multi-dimensional being. You have the ability to create your reality, because now you know that reality is basically like a virtual game. It's like a video game. And we also know this through quantum physics. Now we know that there is no what we call objective reality or materialism reality. Now we know that everything, when we peer it, it's basically an energy, and our brains, your brain actually hallucinate into seeing something that you think is real. But the fact of the matter is, it's just a bunch of energy balls clumped together, and they vibrate so fast that the rate at which they vibrate, it basically trick our eyes, and we see it as solidity. It's basically what it is. So now you know that's who you are. So what is your purpose, right? Okay, I know who I am. What's my purpose? Well, that's for you individually, because each of us, each of our own higher self, we have our own plan. So you can easily find your purpose. All you have to do, you can ask your higher self. That's it. Remember now, your purpose is going to be in this ballpark. Here it is. You are here to experience, to teach, to contribute, to affect something in a positive aspect. And the purpose of this field is for experience love. Love is the highest frequency. So it has to do with love. So your purpose involves something, giving back, contributing, being of service, creating, helping. So it's something around that point. So that's what you have to understand. Now look, your purpose isn't just here to make money or to have money. Because here's the fact. You came here without money, and when you leave, you can't take it with you. Now, it's not saying that while here, you can use that to help you to fulfill your purpose. Yeah, you can make all the money you want, you can become rich, make millions, but it's not your purpose. It should help you to achieve or put your purpose forth. So you have to remember that. So everything you basically are seeing right now, you're experiencing, is coming from your true source. So you have to tap into that higher self version of you. It talks to you every day. You get a little bit of it through intuition, through some dreams, because you're always connected. But again, the intellect mind blocks the receptors or blocks the channel. But that's who you are. You are truly this multidimensional being, that you process information in what is known as quantum field. You exist at all places, all time. You exist outside of the box. If you're outside of the box, you can affect the box. So the answers to everything you desire is already in you. So now you can tap into it. So that's who you are. This multi-dimensional spiritual being that came here to have an experience. You have the ability to create whatever you want. How do you tap into it? I just gave you the answer. Become aware. Now I've revealed it to you. That's as simple as it is. If you don't know something, you don't know. But now you know, you have to start looking at your life differently. And this will be very impactful in your life. Now you'll see things different and watch how your life will change. Put it to the test. Because now you understand that who you are is this infinite being that has the ability to really create anything. The only thing stopping you right now is the little intellect mind that gives you the illusion that you're not connected. And now you have a great understanding of who you truly are. And this, it may shock you, but now it will definitely awaken you.
I'm Alchemy Coach Chip on the Modern Spiritual Podcast of the Morning Gratitude of a Happy Pandemic Monday. And he couldn't say it better than I did, because this is why we're here, and it's for the love, the experience, the teaching, and so much more. And you know how to find it. And this is what we teach on this program. It's not about religion, and it's not about politics. But some of the things do add into religion and politics. You have to understand that. But we're going to go forward right now, and we're going to shift into the ETs, extraterrestrials, because very few people know that these existed. And I'll give you a hint. It's a disc, and it's been hidden for many, 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 many light years. And we're going to get into this because this is part of who we are in the infinite of the energy field on the other side of the third dimension and the higher. And here we are. And then when I come back on this, we will then do a meditation. And that will to relieve your mind of any tension, stress, or anything that's having to happen, so you can relax and you can tap into that higher self of intuition. Right here on the Modern Spiritual Podcast Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, look right here.
Just when you thought 2020 couldn't get any more bizarre.
My gosh!
The Pentagon declassifying 3 videos of what they're calling unexplained aerial phenomena.
Look at this thing. It's rotating.
Give an archaeologist a darkened cave covered with foliage far off the beaten path. Inject an air of mystery, such as strange markings on its ancient walls. And with a few more odds and ends thrown in to incite the imagination, you created a conversation piece for decades to come. During the late spring of 1938, in a remote range of mountains just where the border separates China from Tibet, such a cave with a series of bizarre twisting and interlinking to smaller caves, which was found high in the isolated Bayankara Ula Mountains. Working silently, the group of scientists moved deliberately through a maze of tunnels, their flashlight beams playing on the rough stone walls. Etched into the rock were crude sketches of the heavens and the sun and the moon, and surrounding these orbs, a mass of stars and the Earth. Using sophisticated chemical analysis, the scientists dated the drawings. They were made, it was determined, more than 12,000 years ago. Suddenly, one of the group called excitedly to the others. As they each gathered quickly at a far corner of the cave, their flashlights shining as a single beacon of light on the earthen floor. There was a row of neatly aligned graves placed side by side. When unearthed, the graves were found to contain skeletons of what had been a strangely shaped species. At first, what remained of the entombed bones had been thought of to be animals of some kind, possibly apes. But upon closer scientific scrutiny, it was revealed that in life, the remains had spindly, elongated bodies and very large heads. Carefully studying the grisly find, the scientists found yet another puzzle to contend with. Half buried in the dust on the floor, as though it had been lying there untouched for ages, was a disc. This disc was made of stone and somewhat resembled a record, complete with finely chiseled grooves and a hole in the middle.
Around the grooves were spiraling lines of strange, finely written characters which completely perplexed even those brilliant minds assembled. The stone disc, along with the other important data found in the cave, so far away from civilization, was removed and taken to Peking, where it was filed away. During the many months that followed, countless scientific teams from archaeologists and geologists to paleontologists and anthropologists visited there and stayed a while and made their notes and finally shook their heads in frustration and left, unable to decipher the message on the disc or come up with a reasonable explanation of who left it and why. The stone disc and its elusive message remained in China at the Peking Academy of Prehistory for 20 years. And then on a hot rainy afternoon in 1963, Professor T-Sum Noe broke the code. But the scientific community forbade him to publish the message, which was revealed to him. It wasn't until 2 years later in 1965 that the prominent scientist was given permission to let the world in on his astounding message. The cave was visited again, this time by a host of scientists who enthusiastically combed through its labyrinths. They uncovered more than 716 in all of grooved discs. The messages apparently revealed how a spaceship traveled through the stars. Its initial mission to probe the vast horizons of space, only to develop engine trouble and come falling to Earth, high in the Bayankara Ula Mountains. It also told how the alien occupants of this interstellar craft, although their intentions were peaceful, were hunted down and killed, one by Tibetan tribesmen. The Dropas tribe, as they were called, according to what Professor Nui and his colleagues had translated from the discs, came down from the clouds in their wingless birds. Our men, women and children hid in the caves 10 times before sunrise. When at last they understood the sign language of the Dropas, they realized that the newcomers had peaceful intentions. But it was already too late. Many of the alien beings were killed, and those that remained were told by members of the warrior Ham tribe that they were taken for uncivilized beasts because of their appearance. Since the discovery of the fantastic discs, now known as the Dropa stones, handfuls of scientists, including eminent ufologists, visited the remote Bayankara Ula mountain range. They spoke with the area's inhabitants, learning much of their heritage. Many of the scraps of information they uncovered fully corroborates the bizarre story recorded on the discs. Legends of small, gaunt, yellow-faced men who long ago came from the clouds in wingless flying machines tally precisely with the disc's information. The publication of Professor Tsum Nui's astonishing translation under the title The Grooved Script Concerning Spaceships, which has recorded on the discs, landed on Earth 12,000 years ago, was sent for further study and detailed analysis to Moscow. It was published in the Russian magazine Sputnik. The discs, resembling phonographic records to a remarkable degree, were placed on a specially equipped turntable. To the astonishment of Soviet scientists, the discs vibrated or hummed, as though they formed part of an electrical circuit. As one Soviet scientist exclaimed, "I would estimate that a charge of electricity was passed through this disc, believe it or not, many centuries ago." Is there any connection between the discovery in the cave of the snow-covered mountain and UFO sightings in the area over the past dozen years? UFO investigator Dr. Timothy Ganges believes the answer to this is a resounding yes, although he declines to even venture a guess as to where these interstellar aircraft might be from. He does maintain wholeheartedly that an extraterrestrial space program to Earth began 12,000 years ago and has not ended. Having been among the scientists who visited Bayankara Ula, Dr. Ganges is of the firm conviction that UFOs spotted over Tibet carry the same type of humanoid that crashed those many centuries ago. For one thing, he told this publication, the physical appearance of the ufonauts as described in Dr. Nui's discs correspond exactly with drawings made in close encounter cases, reported over the years from both Tizining, Inner Mongolia, located in the range of mountains known as the Altai, and Lhasa, Tibet's capital. Geographically, both of these areas are joined by the Bayankara Ula, Tibet, a thinly populated region of high plateaus and massive mountains covering 470,000 square miles. On June the 15th, 1974, Kia Wahunan, a mountain guide, was inspecting the outer perimeter of a rock formation to make certain the area was safe for the next morning's climb. He earns his salary from the Tibetan government by giving pre-climbing instructions to would-be mountain climbers. No sooner had he stepped from the cave, approximately 200 feet up in the northern quarter of the peak known as Daja, when he spotted a silvery disc hovering behind a crest of rocks. It was windowless, he said, and shiny, silvery, spotless. There were to be no ridges or protrusions on the craft of any kind gathered about the strange UFO. It was approximately 4 feet off the ground. There were 3 humanoid figures outside the craft. They seemed to be gathering snow and ice particles as well as rocks and putting these things in their ship. Within about 5 minutes after the initial sighting, they climbed aboard by means of a ladder-like device that descended from the center of this thing. And when they were inside, the machine started to hum. It rose several more feet into the air and like a flash shot straight up and disappeared behind a variety of thick snow clouds. It was the last he saw of it. What makes Mr. Unan's experience quite unique is the fact that as an accomplished artist, he drew a likeness of the craft and its trio of occupants he saw in the snow-capped mountains. The drawing corresponded remarkably with the cadavers found in the cave at Bayankara Ula 41 years ago. Spindly, elongated bodies, large with very big heads. This rather unattractive but accurate description has been recorded in several other close encounters also within the same area, as well as cases emanating from Sitka in southern Alaska, the Urals of south-central Siberia, and throughout Tibet, as well as in certain portions of China. A host of speculation from every corner of the globe posit that our planet was visited continuously by extraterrestrial life forms in the past and still is today. And it stands to reason that those who explore the vastness of the universe, whether they originate from our own planet or from elsewhere in the galaxy, have a singular common problem. That is the possibility of crashing on a remote and strange planet far from home, never being able to return to their own planet.
That's it for this episode of the Modern Spiritual Podcast of the Morning Gratitude of the Happy Pandemic Monday. We're going to leave you right now with the Moon Over Ballet with Jonathan Goldman. He's an award-winning sound healer, and this is where you can kind of get the stress out of the mind and the worry or the fear and just relax. That's it. Just relax. And I know you have learned a lot through this episode of this program and more to come in the coming days. The next one I'll meet you on the episode is the Music Row on Wednesday. We'll play some music and have some independent artists as well that may appear. So wherever you are listening to us from around the world, a good day and a good morning, a good night, or whatever it is on your side, be sure to be safe. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next episode right here on the Modern Spiritual Podcast live.